It's Wednesday and I once again don't want to be sitting here making a video. I woke up this morning to a message from Adam saying that he was going to be on Blog TV. So when I actually got around to getting up out of bed, I went over to Blog TV to see what Adam was getting up to. We were talking about the healthcare system in Australia and how we support people through hospital and you know, what the government pays for and what we have to pay for out of our own pocket. And Adam said that he doesn't like hospitals because he doesn't like the fact that we're keeping people alive, basically. And I'm saying that in a really crude way, but Adam said that he thinks that because of the whole survival of the fittest thing, those of us that stay healthy should be allowed to stay healthy and dominant, and those of us who are weaker should be let die. Is that what you were saying, Adam? Natural selection, which is the theory that Adam supports, exists so that we can evolve as a human race, obviously. But surely evolution as a human race occurs so that we can look after and nurture the human race and support the population as a whole, not so that we can continue to eliminate ourselves until there's nothing left. Just wondered what everyone else's thoughts were on this, because it's an interesting debate. I mean, it's not an argument as to what's the point of life, it's sort of just the point of, you know, what point does natural selection not come into play anymore, and what is our duty of care to poorer, less fortunate people? Because I mean, I have certain opinions on helping people and the extent that goes, but I can't see the point in humanity continuing to develop if we're willing to cut everyone else aside. Anyway, my opinions on performing, which is what I'm actually supposed to be talking about this week. I've done a few shows, nothing on a very big scale. It's sort of hard to get into theatre where I'm from. Tasmania is a tiny little island which is very separated and isolated from the rest of the country, and so there's no major theatre productions, no upscale anything really where I'm from. The Uni Review, which is our campus of the uni, puts on a show once or twice a year. That's probably the biggest, most attended thing that anyone goes to or participates in Tassie. It's funny, but it's crass, and I'm sure it would be very much fun to be a part of it. I wanted to be a part of it this year, but I can't afford to take that much time off work and school at the same time just to do a show, really. Yeah, I did. I'll show you some photos if I can find them. In grade 10, which was 2006, I did a show called Gumshoe, which is a musical, and I played the lead evil, Svetlana von Bizarro. My last year of college, grade 12, which was 2 years ago, I did a show called Urinetown, which is a Broadway musical, and I had a named role. It wasn't huge. I played Ma Strong. We made it a little bit bigger than it was supposed to be, but I was an older woman and we had some solo little singing bits, and it was lots of fun, and I fell in love with everyone that I performed with, and it is so hard when you finish a show to come down from that. When you are working on a show or a piece of theatre, it sort of consumes you and becomes everything that you are, and everything that you're about, and you think and you breathe the show. Like even in the lead up to performing, before you go to sleep at night, you've got lines running through your head and people that you have to meet and aspects of your costume and stuff that you have to put together. It is constantly on your mind and you just can't get rid of it. In grade 11 we did the Chronicles of Narnia, an adaptation of that, and I played the White Witch, which was a lot of fun. Then in grade 12 I also did Thomas Middleton's The Witch, which is Jacobean literature, and I played the witch Hecate, and that was interesting. The majority of my lines in that were in Latin and didn't make sense even when they were in Latin. And obviously lines that didn't make sense even at the time they were written, and when they were written several hundred years ago, it's quite hard to act out. But my character was very vulgar and a lot of fun. I really liked that. I tend to be typecast when I do shows as the evil person, the nasty person, the crazy person. I'm never just a nice girl who just happens to be there. I'm always something really gritty, but I like that. The final production I did at the end of college was Fever, which is an Australian political play. If anybody from Australia is watching, or if you're outside of Australia and have read any Australian plays, it was written by the same people who wrote the play Who's Afraid of the Working Class, which is quite a famous play, and it's full of emotion. In that I played an unnamed woman who, basically I was part of a very, very long duologue. But because I had the other character who I was in my scenes with, bound and gagged, pretty much the entire play was a monologue until right at the last bit. But that was fun, and lots of people cried in that, which was amazing. And sort of that was the last time I've ever performed, and it was probably the most emotional experience that I've ever had, and the best connection I've ever made with an audience, and it was the last thing that I did theatre-wise, so it was a nice note to go out on, but at the same time I hate that I've gone out. Basically, my views on performing are, when you are performing is your whole life, and nothing else is worth anything compared to performing. You would very nearly sacrifice anything for the sake of a good performance. But when you've trained in performing and you are good at performing and it fulfills you, it also helps you deal with other aspects of your life. Like, for instance, every time I go to work, I feel like I'm putting on a great big show because I'm completely different at work than I am at home. Sort of even YouTube is a form of performance, really, as Adam demonstrated in his video. I'm a certain person in front of the camera, and you see the certain person that I'm putting here, and you don't see any other side of me, like the annoying, moany, whingy side, or the side of me that really loves computer games and gets really violently into it, or the person who gets really angry when I'm driving cars and bicyclists drive past. I mean, I can tell you about those sides of me, but you're not sitting there looking at me and observing me that way, so I am putting on a bit of a show and editing out the bad bits. I didn't understand Adam's topic. Maybe if I listened to the last part of the video again, I would understand it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to wait until Monday and see what he says. That is all I have to say. Bye!